KCMO Talk Radio. Now on FM at 95.7. It's time for What If Wednesday.
What if, instead of having you on this radio station, there was somebody else?
All right. John, what do you got on a What If Wednesday, my man?
Okay, how about this one? What if astronomer CEO Andy Byron sues Coldplay?
Well, then he's a bigger idiot than I would have ever expected for a guy who was the CEO of a major company. So I read this story yesterday that suggested it would be a stretch. However, the astronomer CEO could potentially try to sue Coldplay and sue Chris Martin for the Jumbotron fiasco last year for defamation. Now, no one necessarily thinks he's going to do this, but the legal experts are weighing in. And they do think it's a long shot because, by the way, when you buy your ticket, you are agreeing to a lot of things that you probably don't realize you're agreeing to, right? Whether it's being on TV or being on the Jumbotron, whatever it might be. But the biggest reason is this. This would just bring more attention to this guy, Andy Byron, and to the whole story. The best thing that can happen to him is this story goes away. He should not want this story to stay in the news. If he does, he's an absolute fool. But if his ego is so big that he thinks he's got to sue to prove a point, then he will deserve all the further bad publicity that comes out of this. And I'm sure there's some attorney that'll do it because there's always an attorney that will be out there and will be willing to, go ahead with the lawsuit and try to make a buck. But if he tries this, I hope he's embarrassed, shamed, and loses, John.
All right, what if individualized dynamic pricing is coming to air travel?
Then I think Congress should get involved. Delta Airlines has decided that it is going to use dynamic AI-driven pricing to its business model. And this is, first off, I don't know how they'll gather this information. But what Delta is saying is that ticket prices will not just be dynamically based off of what the market will bear. That's capitalism. I'm actually okay with dynamic pricing where they're using AI to figure out, hey, here's what someone is willing to pay right now for this seat on this plane ride. I'm okay with that.
Equitable.
Yes, I'm totally okay with that. But what they're talking about is using AI to set individual fares. So basically, I could look up a flight from Kansas City to Dallas, and John could look up the same flight, and my price might be higher than his price because somehow Delta, through AI, will have information on what I'm willing to spend versus what he's willing to spend. And that is completely absurd, John. So that is a disaster waiting to happen.
All right, what if Mark is requested for the London location shootings of Ted Lasso Season 4?
Then I'm putting my foot down and he's staying here in Kansas City. Okay? I mean, that's just, we got to put an end to this. We appreciate Garner. He's doing he's more valuable here. Garner's doing incredible work filling in a pinch this week for Mark, who's filming with Ted Lasso. But Mark's not going to London. As the boss, I'm putting my foot down and saying that's not happening. So if you're listening, Mark, you're done after this week, buddy.